So Chay Geok, thank you so much for today. So first question is, what was your childhood like?
Oh, I'm a little wild child, I like to roam around, like to run around, like to explore things as a whole, I would be out in the fields, catching spiders and crickets and stuff like that. In Singapore, we were in a village area. So you could still find all these rough patches of grass where you find grasshoppers and stuff like that. As I was growing up, I have a sister who's actually in computer science. She was developing tic-tac-toe at home. Of course, her programming was failing left, right, center. But then, it caught my interest that, well, this is really interesting. So I was a history, geography, literature major. But after seeing what my sister was doing, I decided to go switch computer science in university.
And can I say that your ambitions is also, to at that time as a child to study computer science because you saw how amazing things that your sister was doing just with codes?
It was. I mean, it was the realization that I could program my own games that got me motivated, really.
And Chay Geok, can you tell us more about your current role now?
Well, it's a very interesting role. I'm heading the insurance operations for Asia Pacific, so covering around 15 countries. So Willis Towers Watson is a broking insurance company. We're responsible for basically as operations to make sure that the brokers have enough support at the back end. Running through basically, our team is basically responsible for supporting the brokers on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to entering data into systems, generating the documentation, and doing all the follow-up. So I run basically also a center in Mumbai and in China, basically offshoring a lot of our operations work to these two companies in these two countries.
And Chay Geok, what are the main challenges you face as a female leader?
Perhaps you could say that I've been quite fortunate. I don't see much difference between a female and a male leader. I have been, maybe perhaps you could say that I'm quite blessed. I have been in great companies that doesn't do such a distinction between a male and female. We have been given equal opportunities. But of course, there are certain things, for example, in Willis Towers Watson, for example, it's a fantastic company that promotes mobility, promotes flexibility. So effectively, especially female leaders that has family commitments, they could actually work from home at any point in time. There's no limit. You could work 5 days a week if it's required and come up for clients meetings or team meetings. Yeah,
that's wonderful. I think that's probably one of the top policies and benefits that females are looking for. And Chay Geok, you're one of a growing number of women in a largely male-dominated field. What was it like when you first started out?
It's quite an interesting question. Well, I could already feel it actually in university because computer science as a college has always been male-dominated. So coming out to work, well, you kind of feel quite comfortable with that. However, you still have to continue to prove your worth. You have to be as good as your male counterparts, basically. Yeah, if not more, because you've got to prove yourself. Especially as you mentioned, it's a male-dominated industry. But I think we are all equal. Whether it's a male or female. There's no stopping you to seek opportunity that is actually there.
Definitely, the sky is the limit.
Precisely.
Who have been your role models?
Oh, a very influential role model for me is actually my first boss when I joined Allianz. So she's a French lady working in Singapore, and her personal life is reflective of she has a personality. She's French, but she left to work in Germany as a nanny, and then she went to US to work as a nanny. And she decided to then go to Japan to study Japanese. Subsequently, she came to Singapore. And I'm like, wow, this person is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, and she was my first manager when I joined Allianz. And I've learned a lot from her and I looked up to her. So today, she's still doing very, very well. She's in a senior role in one of the insurance company here. And I still go to her for advice. She's always my reference person whenever there's a job. You know?
Yes, yes. And how has she influenced you? Because you share with us how diverse she basically is. And yeah, so what did she do to influence you?
She has, I think, I was a growing manager at that point in time. So she, as a manager, she was showing me literally her management styles, and I really, really enjoy and I really embraced it. She's, you could say she's a strong manager, but yet she has empathy, and that to me was very important. Yeah. She's a no-nonsense person, but yet, you know, when you have your challenges, when you talk to her, she'll be able to guide you to resolve your issues on hand. So for me, it's a fantastic role model in terms of manager. And when I saw her and I worked with her, I've decided that this is the kind of manager that I want to be, and this is the management style that I want to adopt. It's really be a strong leader, but you must have empathy. You must treasure the team that you work with.
And Chay Geok, what have been the greatest lessons you have learned along the way?
Oh, the ability to adapt to changes. I think agility, this is something that's very, very key. You must be agile, you must be able to adapt to changes that is around you, because there's nothing that is constant in this world, in this environment. Things are constantly changing around us. Business changing, environment is changing, work is changing as well. And I mean, bosses are changing all the time as well.
That's true,
Yeah.
that's true. And what would you say is the hardest decision you have had to make through your career?
I stayed for a very long time in my second job, Allianz, but within the company, I had several roles and as well as learnings as well. For me to leave that company, and I love that company really.
Yes,
you know, that's why it came up. To leave that company after more than 15 years was a very big challenge for me. I had, you could say, sleepless nights. But for me, it was that decision to be bold and not to be fearful. You know, to really explore what is out there in the market. Well, the market is not just Allianz, even though it's really one of the top insurance company. But really to see what is out there in the world. It's that decision to be bold and not to look back and just go.
Took the leap of faith.
Yes.
Yes.
More than the leap of faith is to believe in yourself, basically, to make the decision.
Be confident,
Yeah.
believe in yourself. That's amazing. And Chay Geok, you're clearly a very accomplished individual. And what advice would you give to other female professionals who are just starting out in their career?
I would say perhaps 3 points I'd like to give to these young people enjoying the market. First of all, it's to be agile. You need to change. Second is be bold, no fear. Just do what you think is right. Final point is basically be happy. I think we all need to be happy.
That's really important. Yeah, do things that make you happy.
Precisely.
Yes. And with a growing skill gap, how can female executives stay relevant in the tech space?
I think the tech space is really challenging. It's evolving every day. Innovations is coming out every day. A key thing, any leader, be it female or even male, you must be aware of what is happening out in the technology. You must keep up to date with innovation. The likes of blockchain, you know, the likes of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. These are buzzwords, but you need to know it. You need to know what is happening and what is the potential impact on what you're doing. You need to look out for opportunities, basically, bring innovations into what you're doing as well. There's this constant learning, constant innovation that we always need to pay attention to.
And maybe you can share a little bit with our audience where or how we can find those information.
Internet. Dr. Google is the best.
That's true. That's true. Just Google it.
Yeah, just Google it. I mean, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis as well. You know, when I'm free somewhere in the transport somewhere, I'll just whip out my handphone. I'll just look at the latest news. And you know, the latest news, you can find it from all sources. You can find BBC, and because I'm from the insurance, I read Insurance Review, and I read various insurance magazines online, basically to find out what are the technology or what is the buzzword that is happening around the insurance sector as well.
And what drives you to innovate today?
Well, it's simply the thirst for learning for me personally. You know, I don't like to be known as somebody who doesn't know what's happening. And especially if you're a leader, you want to bring your team or your company to the next level where you have an advantage over your next competitor. And you can't do that if you're not aware of what is happening out in the greater world. Or what's your company doing? So perhaps that your company will stay like it is 50 years ago.
And Chay Geok, how can we attract more females to be interested in STEM while women are traditionally intimidated by it?
I mean, for more adults looking at going across opportunity, I think it's still possible, but they must have the passion. I think passion is very important, especially when it comes to technology. It's not a job like accountancy where things doesn't change for hundreds of years. Technology changes all the time, so you must have the passion within you to constantly keep up, to learn new technology, to read new stuff. This constant learning, some people might find it tired, and hence I have friends moving out of the sector, even though they are actually computer science trained as well.
Wow.
It's quite common. I mean, typically around 50% of my friends are no longer in computer science or related technology roles because they are simply tired of having this push to keep up with technology, keep up with innovations all the time.
When you are running the mentoring sessions or sitting down one-to-one with the mentee, what are their challenges and what are their concerns usually?
I would divide this into two types of female candidates. So you have those that are much younger, they're looking for opportunities. They don't want to be in a role for too long, so they're always looking for opportunities where they can grow to the next role, learn about something new. And so for such mentees, you typically always look for opportunities for them to learn something new. So move them around for job rotation. A lot of them also want to go overseas as well. So the overseas connection is important. Then you have those that are more settled, probably with young family. So they're looking for some stability, but they're still thirsty, you know, for work, for new stuff as well. So this is where we're looking internally. For example, in Singapore, I happen to have a team member that was like that. So she's a mother of 2 young kids now. You know, she likes to do stuff, so we are always moving her around projects, but then she's always Singapore-based. So you have to cater accordingly the requirements or the needs of your mentees accordingly.
And it's wonderful what you're doing to your mentees, because I spoke to a lot of female professionals on my platform, and they mentioned sponsorship is a lot more effective to their career.
Of course,
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same experience as well. So one of my mentors when I was in Allianz was actually in Germany. So the company was really good and really supportive. So I actually had trips to Germany to meet up with her. And I followed her for a day when she was in her meetings. So she was in a different business line as I was. But it was great, fantastic learning, especially, you know, being in a European environment, how she was conducting her meeting, how she was meeting clients. It was valuable, really valuable experiences.
Half the Sky is a career platform for women, and it connects women to better jobs at companies that care. So, Chay Geok, what do you think companies should do to attract and retain female talent?
We need to provide the flexibility, especially for growing young mothers. I think it's really necessary. I think as a whole, to be also fair, you know, always talk about gender equality. You shouldn't have a pay difference between a male and female for sure. So and a lot of companies like Willis Towers Watson actually has inclusive and diversity programs as well. So companies can do this to make sure that they remain attractive to ladies, which is really 50% of the population, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's like half your sky.
Exactly. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yes. And Chay Geok, last but not least, what are your thoughts on a platform like Half the Sky?
Oh, it's a fantastic. Like I say, well, this is the reason why I agreed to this interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's fantastic. You know, it's really ladies helping ladies, and this is the least we can do. Yeah. Giving them opportunity, helping them to find an opportunity. I've known a lot of people who has taken leave to look after the children, and they're looking at coming back to the workforce, and they've always found it a challenge, you know, to come back to the workforce. And I think these are little things we can do to actually help these ladies.
Yes, absolutely.
To join the workforce back.
Yes, and it's a wrap. We're done. Thank you so
Super.
much.
Thank you.
Yes, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.